G'day players and welcome to Sunday Night Live. As always, I'm your host, Josh Shonafinger, and tonight we're going to wrap up your first week of the 21-day kicking challenge, including phase 2, and we'll also look forward to phase 3 and what we've got in store there. We'll also introduce a brand new segment and announce our multiple competition winners. Fingers crossed it was you. However, like every show, we're going to start by looking back. And joining us for looking back this week is Mick Talbot, the professor of DFS Online. Hey, Mick.
G'day, Josh. How's it going?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. The D's had a great win yesterday, so it's been a good weekend so far.
You'll be up and about. Who was best on ground for the D's, do you reckon, yesterday, Mick?
Oh, I think Clayton Oliver. He's really stood up in the last couple of weeks since he copped a fair bit of criticism from the media as well. So he's looking really good now.
He certainly is. He's bounced back really well. Now, Mick, You'll provide a review of phase 2 of the program for us. How did everybody do?
Yes, so phase 2 was fantastic. And Josh, the phase 2 focus was on the ball drop and balance arm. So the B phase of the kicking technique. So we've done kneeling and bouncing. There was 2 levels to that, beginner and intermediate. And one of the key rules that both myself and Coach Tuller have really focused on is players knowing their level. So that is them knowing where they're at, what their capabilities are, so that when they're doing these drills at home, they're able to get the most out of it for continual improvement. So we did kneeling and bouncing, and we also did arm on the fence as well. And that really focused on the balance arm, which would have been a bit difficult for some players because a lot of players, especially at an early learner phase, would not use their balance arm too much in their kick. So getting your balance arm during your kick is actually something that would be new to some of these players, and it would feel quite uncomfortable to begin with. So the arm on the fence was a really good drill to actually introduce that phase to some players, but also to help some players really hone in on their balance arm as well. And then we had the crane kick, which is Tuller's favorite remedial exercise. I know Coach Tuller loves this one because with the crane kick, and all the players would remember this from the overview, but the crane kick you can use to focus on any of the key elements within the kicking technique. And for phase 2, we focused on our ball drop and balance arm.
Now, it looks a bit funny, the crane kick, doesn't it? And we've had a few of our players say they actually had a few issues with it. How do you reckon the best way to combat those issues would be, Mick?
Yep. So with the crane kick, it can be a very difficult exercise to perform, especially if you haven't done it before, because during the crane kick, you begin on you're balancing, on one leg. So when you're balancing on one leg, that can actually affect the way you're guiding the ball down, and you can lose control. So a really important focus is that balance, making sure you're getting really good balance on that one leg, and then really able to control the ball down onto your foot. Now, during the overview, Tuller gave some really good advice on how to actually balance. So taking away the art of kicking, how to actually balance. So go back to the overview because that was some really great tips. But in saying that, when you're performing the kick, just take it back and choose your level. And that's the main theme. It's make sure you know what your capabilities are and make sure that you're ready to progress. So don't try and progress to a certain stage until you're ready, until you're proficiently performing the stage before as well.
Yeah, it's very important to make sure you get it nailed before you move on, isn't it?
It sure is, Josh.
So let's remind everyone about the Hit the Post challenge, which we've had a lot of great feedback about, and let's just get everyone up to speed with what's going on there.
Yes, so the Hit the Post benchmark testing. Now that we've done 2 phases, we're 1/3 of the way into the challenge. All the players at home would have by now performed the Hit the Post challenge to see where they're at to begin with. So they would have written down their score. Now is a good time to actually retake the Hit the Post challenge and see how you've gone compared to 1 week earlier. So we're 1 week in, with 2 phases down, see how you've gone, see how much you've progressed. Not just on your score though, okay, also with the way you feel you're kicking. So anything you notice, whether you feel like you're hitting the sweet spot more, feel like you've got more control guiding the ball down. Take note of what you're feeling and what you're observing. So note them down. Make sure you write them down as well, and keep a diary over the next few weeks as well.
Now it's going to be interesting to see how all the kicks improve as we get even further into the 21-day challenge as well. Mick, that's all of the time we've got for the review. Do you want to hang around for our preview of Phase 3?
Yep, I'm looking forward to it.
Let's go. Let's jump into our next segment. It's time to look at the training menu of Phase 3, if you will. What's for training? So, what do we have coming up, Mick?
All right, Josh. Well, Phase 3 it's going to be a pretty intensive phase. There's quite a bit to do. However, all that we said, myself and Coach Teller, is for the continual improvement of the players. So in Phase 3, we're going to focus on the contact, which we've spoken about previously, Josh, because the little clue for the recent Beat the Coach challenge with Coach Adam was focusing on the sweet spot in the contact phase as well. So now we're going to focus on the contact phase with our training. So we've got the tennis ball and soccer ball kick, Josh. Now, we're not using footballs for those ones, okay? You're using differently shaped balls, and that's going to help you with the contact phase. So you still need to make sure you're controlling the ball down. However, the main focus is going to be the contact between the ball and your foot. So hitting that sweet spot. Then after that, you're going to do solo kick level 3. Now, we've done level 1 and 2, Josh, in the first phase. So level 1 and 2 was without momentum and movement in the kick. At level 3, you're now going to introduce some movement and momentum within your kick. So that's another progression to the solo kick. But again, we still want to make sure we're focusing on the contact phase. Still make sure you're controlling the ball down in the ball drop phase, but we do want to make sure that we're getting really good contact. And then we're going to do the crane kick again. Okay, the crane kick is fantastic, as I mentioned before, and as Coach Teller has mentioned in the overview as well, to focus on several different parts of the technique, or really focus on one part of the technique. Okay, so we're going to use it to focus on the contact phase this week, after last week using it to focus on the ball drop phase. So now we're focusing on a new part of the kicking technique while using the same drill, which is the crane kick. So that's going to be our football-related training modules for this week.
Awesome. Things are starting to get serious. Mick, is it harder to nail a kick with a tennis ball, a soccer ball, or a football, do you reckon?
Well, it's much harder to kick it with a tennis ball because it's quite a lot smaller. So a tennis ball is a lot smaller, which means the sweet spot is a lot smaller as well. So it's actually quite harder, which I think would surprise quite a few people at home when they're actually thinking about it. They'd probably think, kicking a tennis ball, that should be easy. It's actually quite harder because the sweet spot on the tennis ball is much smaller than that of a soccer ball and a football.
That's going to be great to see how everybody goes. Mick, thanks for that. Can't wait for an update next Wednesday. Now it's time for a brand new segment. That's right, it's time to get physical, and who better than with the guru himself? It's the DFS Head of Strength and Conditioning, Adam Valley. Adam, welcome to Sunday Night Live. How are you?
Good, thanks, Josh. Great to be here. I'm super excited.
Great. Now, Adam, maybe you want to give us a bit of an intro about your backstory and what your experiences are in the strength and conditioning fraternity.
Yeah, no worries. Actually, just before I get into that, there's actually a little bit of a clip that I want to play for everyone sitting at home. So before I get into explaining a little bit about my experiences, we've got a clip just for you.
Okay, Adam, it's time for a bit of competition. It's your choice of what we do, so please tell me what we're going to be doing.
Oh, well, I've got a barbell complex in mind, so we're going to do a shoulder press into a bent over row, into some bicep curls, and we're going to do 6 reps of each, straight into 4 reps of each. And the first one to finish is the winner.
Okay, great.
Just a bit of a warning is that this exercise or complex isn't probably that suitable for juniors too young.
Okay, great.
Hey, you ready to go? So
let's start the clock.
Yep. 3, 2, 1. Winner.
Well done.
Well done, mate.
Oh boy, just another example of a DFS coach betting me in a challenge. I hope that doesn't become a thing, but looks like it is. Anyway, though, Adam, in all seriousness, welcome to Sunday Night Live, and it's really exciting to be able to introduce the strength and conditioning, or S&C, as we call it, for phase 3. So maybe you want to talk us through what's coming up and maybe how strength and conditioning will complement the kicking program from here?
Yeah, absolutely. So the upcoming exercises that you've got planned for this week, and you've got 2 strength exercises. The first one is a bodyweight squat. The second one is a bridge, and the third one is a leg swing. So let's take the bridge, for example, the one that you can see on screen here. Really good for your posterior chain, which is your glute and hamstring strength. Now, that is super, super important when we're talking about kicking. Why? Because it's going to allow for a nice penetrating kick because you're able to produce force quite substantially. So that's the reason why you want to be doing exercises like this to improve your kick. And that same goes for the squat. If you are strong through your lower body, not only can you have a penetrating kick, but you might be more stable on that single leg stance that Mick was talking about, balancing on that one leg. So when you're balancing and standing on one leg, the ability to be strong through your hips and be stable is really, really important for that as well. And just before we finish up as well, with the leg swing, that is more of a flexibility and mobility exercise. And what that really does is helps to improve the range of motion and flexibility through that hamstring. And I'll put it to you like this. If you've got a really tight hamstring where you can't kick your leg up high, what your body tends to do is starts to compensate. So you lean back on your kick. And as we know, with my experience working with a lot of junior athletes in football, you can see the kick is compromised with its accuracy. So super important to work on that flexibility as well.
Yeah, it's really cool, I reckon, to see and to have it explained how exactly the strength and conditioning can impact something in a game of footy itself. But it's pretty daunting for a lot of players who have never done anything like this. Is it open for anybody to start doing strength and conditioning, or do you need to be at a certain level to get into it?
That's a really good question, Josh, because it's a question that parents ask me all the time. In fact, the research does tell us that you can start strength and conditioning at an age where younger kids or athletes start to understand its importance. And not only that, you can also start to progress at a decent rate. So if you can get into the gym and you're under the guidance of qualified strength and conditioning coaches, then there is absolutely no reason why you can't start strength and conditioning pretty much straight away.
That's great. Now, since you're here and because you're the strength and conditioning expert, would you be able to maybe explain to us how junior footballers would be able to improve their game in a more holistic sense through strength and conditioning?
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. So if we just talk about strength, which is one component of strength and conditioning, let's talk about our lower body strength for a second here. If you improve the strength through your legs, then you're able to produce a little bit more force into the ground. And as we know, if you can do that, you're able to sprint faster, jump higher, change direction more explosively. You're able to hold up in tackles more. And as I said, you can really have that penetrating kick. And then when we talk about the upper body, it's the ability to absorb that body contact, really be strong in marks overhead, spoil, and really acts as that body armor, really. And that's the strength component, I suppose. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, we usually have Mick to hang around with me for the rest of the show. Do you mind if you fill in his shoes and while we announce the weekly winners?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this.
All right. It's time to announce our winners of the week. So we've got a Beat the Coach Challenge winner from Phase 2 to announce, and we've had a lot of great entries for the juggling kick. But this week's winner, congratulations, is Luke L. from Morumbina Junior Football Club. Congratulations, Luke. You've won a brand new share in footy. To claim your prize, please email us at the email address on screen, info@dfsonlinefootyacademy.com.au, or jump into the forums online and send me a direct message and we'll get it straight out to you. Now, Adam, also got...
Well done, Luke. Well done.
Now, Adam, we've also got a chance to give a leg up to a junior football club for next season. One lucky player and consequently one lucky club will win $400 in sports signage for their club. That sounds pretty good, eh, Adam?
Wow, we.
That
How good
lucky
is that?
player,
A time like this could not get anything better. That's awesome.
that lucky player is Lachlan from the Cheltenham Panthers. Congrats, Lockie. You completed all your training sessions for the week, and by doing so have given your club $400 in return to sport signage from our friends at Scoop. The return to sport signage is the essential signage your club will need before the next junior football season. It's all easy to install and it'll ensure you're operating in line with the AFL and government guidelines. To put your club in the running to win, all you need to do, like Lockie did, is complete your training modules for the next week. Remember to click complete at the bottom and ensure your training modules are marked off as complete to go in the draw to win. Congratulations again, Lock. Now, that's all we've got for this week's edition of Sunday Night Live. The first week of the 21-day kicking challenge is done, but things only get more exciting from here with phase 3 coming straight up. Adam, how did you enjoy your first time on the show?
No, it's awesome, Josh. Thanks for having me on. It's a really strange time for everyone, but I feel like, we're extremely privileged to be able to give an insight to the junior footballers out there, and not only that, to keep that motivation, because it can be really tough at the moment. But with something like this is awesome to keep everyone engaged. So, guys, all I encourage you to do is just keep up the awesome work, stay motivated, stay strong, and you guys are doing an awesome job.
Excellent. Great advice. Maybe you'll join us again in future weeks, Adam?
Oh, please do. I absolutely look forward to that.
Sounds great. Now, just before we go, we're going to jump back to our Professor Michael Talbot, who I think has got some very exciting news to tell us about the Beat the Coach Challenge for this week.
Yes, Josh. So the Beat the Coach Challenge, last week we had Coach Adam for doing the juggling challenge. Now, this week, we've got a very special Beat the Coach Challenge. It is going to be Adam, our S&C guru, who is challenging some players to put on their jumper while doing a push or in a push-up position quicker than Adam can. So that is going to be a very fun but challenging challenge to try and beat Adam. So looking forward to seeing all the players send in their video of them doing that challenge now.
Wow, I'm just trying to get my head around how that's going to work, but I'm sure once we all give it a go, it's going to make more sense.
Yep, and I'm looking forward to it. It looks really good. I've seen Adam's challenge, and he does it extremely well. So I can't wait for all the players to send in their own video.
Thanks for the update, Mick, and we'll check in on Wednesday with how everyone's gone. Thanks again also to Adam Valley for joining us, and that's it for this week's edition of Sunday Night Live. Your Phase 3 activities are all accessible right now, so jump on and get into them. I'll see you next Wednesday for Wednesday Night Live, where we'll preview Phase 4 of the 21-day kicking challenge.